Hello. It's John. Right. Well, welcome to Driving with John. And my wife, we're just passing her, we're dropping her off at the airport. She is off to Spain with my daughter for a few days, so they're looking forward to that. Being in a motorhome, I couldn't get super close to the airport. It is 6:11 a.m. So it's a 4 a.m. start for me, well, for us. Today I'd like to talk to you about the subject of I guess playing, is that the word? Playing small? So it just feels like a funny term to say. Maybe another way of describing that is the ways in which we dim our light, hold ourselves back, constrain ourselves, and not just consciously, also subconsciously. And you'll have to forgive my train of thought because well, it's early, and it's been a week. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween, by the way. It's definitely a busy week for psychics. And I'd love to share some of the recent themes that have been coming up in channel messages, in client sessions, and also at a wonderful event last night, doing a Halloween event. So Natasha Rocha and I did an event for 10 people in person at the Spot Village Hall, the very place that I had my awakening in November 2017, and in it, my first big awakening. And it's funny, I'm driving this road and with like muscle memory. So some of the themes that I've observed in others, sometimes we see it in others easier than we see it in ourselves. I do also want to share, my own self-limiting beliefs and constraints and the ways in which I've been dimming my light and still do, because I feel once you start to talk about these things more, because they're like, it's a shadow, right? It's, in some respects, it's kind of like a positive shadow. And yet it's really important to face. So, first of all, we've got the Halloween theme, right? And Samhain, which is the pronunciation of Samhain, Samhain, meaning the end of summer. It's really fascinating because the witch wound of this whole planet is massive. It's not like, it's tempting to think, there was just maybe a few thousand of us witches that had a rough time. It's not, right? And if I'm not clear, I do consider myself a witch, in this life and in previous lives, and I was also female in previous lives. And we went through traumas where we were very powerful people, right? We yielded forces of nature, the elements of nature, the wisdom, of many ancestors, we were badass, right? and so we were a formidable force. And there's two elements to that, right? Or or some of the two key facets to it are, one, when you're powerful, it invites more powerful enemies, right, to oppose you, because they feel more threatened by it. The bigger enemies feel more threatened by it. And then also, you yield great power. Maybe you had a gift of pyrokinesis, with flames. Maybe telekinesis, you can move objects. Telepathy, power over, the elements, wind, earth, water. I mean, the list is endless, right? Of all these gifts and abilities that we have. And in those past lives, especially when we're opposed and our loved ones attacked, it can invite within us an anger and a rage that, when channeled through our own superpowers, can cause significant trauma to others and us. It never seems that it's just one, right? We can't just go around hurting others without it causing trauma to ourselves as well. Okay, warning, incoming gulp sound. Wow, I've never seen this road so clear. This area of the road is usually completely crazy. Well, just like that driver. I'm dead on the speed limit and he is not. It's funny, some of you said in the comments, "Oh, John, you drive really fast." And it is, I'm driving dead on the speed limit, 50 miles an hour just now. It's like the fisheye lens on the camera. It stretches out the field of vision and it accelerates movement on the outside of the outside lens. So I bet if you cut a wee circle in the middle, it might seem slower. Anyway, I would let you know if I'm speeding. Actually, I typically drive at 60 miles an hour and the speed limit is 70. And I do that partly for fuel economy, and also just, if I'm driving at 70, I'm constantly having to weave in and out of traffic, and people see me as a moto, and they're just like, get out of my way. Even if I'm going faster, or even faster than they can go, they feel that visually, that I'm slowing them down. So we carry these past life witch wounds into this life, right? Because our soul says, "Oh, John, I know that you had some past life traumas of being a very powerful witch and oracle and sage, and there was quite a lot of trauma, yielding these great, big, huge, powerful gifts. So let's come back in another lifetime and let's really face that trauma." And so your soul brings in that trauma, the pattern of it, the feelings of it, into this life. Anyway, this video isn't dedicated to witch wounds, etc., but it is a wonderful topic because it's seasonal. We're still in, I know Halloween was technically yesterday, we're now in the 1st of November. Happy November! However, it feels more that we're also in a position where the kind of fuel for a lot of our self-limiting beliefs come from those patterns. So let's also move on to present witch wounds. So not just a past life witch wound, a present witch wound. Many of us experience this. Oh, it's nice seeing the sky coming to life. It's that lovely before dawn light. So what's really fascinating is in my life, my memories are relatively, I do remember really far back in my life. It's just I don't have that many memories of seeing spirits and ghosts. And it's interesting because when your psychic abilities are active, it is real for you, right? So that if you've never heard of the term psychic, which I don't think I had when I was about 6 years old, maybe I'd like seen, I think I'd heard of things like horoscopes and maybe like palm readers and maybe even tarot readers, but I didn't really know what psychic abilities were and stuff. And I remember I was so used to seeing shadow figures in particular. It's very me, right? And so when I first saw shadow figures in my, I think it was actually my parents' bedroom. I remember walking past their bedroom, and it was a very old house that we lived in. And it was a shadow figure, it implies that it's somehow like humanoid. It was not. Like there was this kind of like creepy, almost like octopus with tentacles entity it was like hanging on the top of these big thick curtains, and it gradually, like very creepily, it's reminds me of the Alien movies. It's kind of tentacles gradually lowered down, and it was coming down the curtains down towards me, and that proper freaked me out. Like I was consciously in no doubt that was real, and I was really upset. Like it's traumatizing, right? To experience that as a child, and then when your parents, I mean, they weren't like, they didn't really mock me or get angry with me. They just were just incredibly dismissive. Like, oh no, there's no such thing as ghosts. So I used to get really freaked out about going upstairs in that house by myself. And now I look back, and for good reason, right? And I remember for months the toilet downstairs was out of action, and so it was just a little toilet room upstairs by itself. You had to go upstairs every time to go to the toilet. And at any age, right, even at age 6, you have to go to the toilet quite a lot in a day. And so I was always freaked out. And I remember what freaked me out the most was when I flushed the toilet. I always felt like I was being chased down the hallway. And now when I look back, just reflecting on that memory, what does the toilet do when you flush it, especially a big old one? It generates a huge amount of white noise. And what does white noise do? White noise can create portals. So no wonder I was running scared. I was running scared down this portal. Running away from the portal. Gulp coming. Double gulp. So there's definitely fear, right? We all get fear of connecting with our own superpowers, and that can make us want to play small. So if you think in summary about past life and present lives, is you lightly, right, I feel really we all do have our own superpowers, because Source has intentionally created us with purpose and meaning, and that is that we are all unique, and we all have unique superpowers. And whether you're a completely brand new soul, this is your first lifetime, seems to be a lot rarer on Earth. That you have a superpower, you've had some sort of trauma about using it in the past, and in this life you're actually being encouraged to step into it, to use that power. And so what's come up in recent themes is some people are really scared of coming out as themselves. So, and I do feel the coming out journey is very relevant. And the first thing is you have to come out to yourself, right? You have to come out of the psychic closet or energy healer or witch or whatever. I would propose for you that you choose the most triggering for you personally label. And for me that was psychic. It wasn't witch, it was psychic. In fact, in some respects I thought witch was perhaps easier to come out as, in part because there's a little bit of humor about being a witch, especially around Halloween. I would say that witch and witchy vibes, and not so much as male witch. In fact, a lot of people don't really identify witches as being any other gender other than female. I do, and because when I was a kid we always used to be told be witches and warlocks, and I don't know, the whole warlock thing just doesn't really resonate with me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and it might be right for you. It's just me personally. Like I would choose witch over warlock. Or even try, a lot of people will also use labels that, so this was my journey, right? I didn't start out as spiritual and psychic mentor. I started out as a spiritual mentor, and people are like, what is that? And to some extent, spiritual and psychic mentor, people are still a bit like, what does that mean? And I would say that the hardest word, the most triggering for me, was the word psychic. And it was triggering for me because it triggered within me, first of all, a lack of self-belief in my own abilities, first and foremost. So in order to demonstrate to myself that I believe in myself, I believe in my abilities, and that they're real, they're real, at very least for me, right? Remember, they don't need to be real for other people yet, right? You don't really need other people to validate you. You just need to decide yourself. And if you know me and you follow my videos, a big time for me was September, October 2023. I went on a meditation teacher training, and I had to make a decision before I went on that course, a 5-day in-person course. And you get very close to people, right? I was close to a group of around 10 women. Some, one or two of which were, I don't think they identified as witches, but they, did a lot of witchy stuff, for sure. And they would be happy with me, describing themselves as that. And I just knew I had to like not hold back, right, and say, look, I'm psychic. And initially I was just going to skirt around the subject, so I'd say stuff like, I do quantum energy. It'd be a long story. If you ask John, hi John, what do you do? Well, I do energy healing and like meditation, and I'm also learning reflexology and blah blah. And I might say at the end, oh yeah, and I also do readings. And they're like, and then they'd like, of course they'd latch on to the thing that was like the most controversial or whatever. Like, oh, is that like psychic readings or tarot readings or something? And I'd say, yeah, it's psychic. It's psychic stuff. So that's a huge thing. It's like a huge starting point, right? And I cried and cried and cried through that week of meditations, several meditations a day, the class. Every time I felt so held with them, and I had a lot of them in tears, because it really resonated with them that I'd been holding myself back. And it's like, John, it's time to come out of your spiritual and psychic closet. So I did. And that was so powerful for me. After that, I started adding the word psychic to everything. I added it to all my business cards and websites, and eventually I think I even changed my main service, most popular service. It used to be called, well, it started as darkness clearing sessions, which a lot of people didn't really understand, and then it broadened, so I called it quantum energy healing for a few years. And then really just after I came out psychic, it changed to quantum psychic healing. Oh no, the sun's coming up, my body's like, I think it might be dawn. Oh, this is really cool. We're going to drive into dawn. We're facing east, that's cool. And it's the new dawn of you. Time to step out of the closet and step into the whole of you. So definitely, my advice is like, definitely work on yourself first, right? If we forward wind to, in some respects, my triggers now are more expansive, and my shadows of dimming my light are more expansive. So they're kind of like, I describe that as like they're further down on my journey, right? So if you fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, I'm already out of the psychic closet. I'm going on YouTube a lot. My friends and family know what I do, that I am psychic. Some of them will be in denial, and I've heard that as well. I'll tell them, they'll say, Johnny is psychic, and I'll say yes. And they say, what do you do? I am a spiritual and psychic mentor. And then I'll hear them like describing me to someone else, and they won't use the word psychic. And I don't blame them, right? And they don't need to be like super accurate. I just need them to. I need to have told them, and what they do thereafter is up to them. I can't, I'm not here to control others' free will. The next thing is this example of 2 or 3 weeks ago was I was scared of promoting my Halloween event last night, and the title was Activate Your Inner Witch, and I had to post it on our community. Let's say our town is about 10,000 people, and the area, I don't know, not much more, maybe 15,000. that access this Facebook group, but all friends, a lot of even some family members are in the area, so they would see me running this this event, and I just felt that my first feeling was ridicule, that I'd get ridiculed, my kids would get ridiculed, and I must admit, right, and I don't, in some respects, you know, and touch wood, this all works out as well, but, you know, so far, to my knowledge, my kids haven't really had any annoying and certainly no bullying behavior about the work I do, because it's very public, right? And the way some apps are, like TikTok, I think in particular, there's maybe been once or twice there's been I've had, either through my website or TikTok, you know, school friends of my kids, what kind of feels a bit like baiting you, but it's so, I don't know, the energy of it is just a bit trolling, and it's just designed to be a wee bit triggering, and that's it. And what was also funny about the energy of it, and it was just a very small, no more than like a handful of occasions, there was almost a feeling of jealousy about it, which I found really fascinating. And that also comes up, right? You know, when you step out of your closet and you step into your full self, you might call yourself a tarot reader, you know, a psychic medium. Doesn't matter what your label is. It doesn't even need to be spiritual or psychically focused practice. Just you're stepping into your full self. It can trigger other people because that's what they want to do as well. And so when you do it, they project their trigger onto you. It's like, oh, you know, all psychics are frauds. And I must admit, I felt lucky that it was only until about last summer, or only since about last summer, so just over a year, that some friends and family like put that idea in my head that some psychics are frauds, because I never really thought about it like that. I never thought about it being people being intentionally bad to the work. I just thought they just weren't that great at it, or I didn't really care, right? But some people, you know, do fake it, right? And some of it's not hard to fake, I guess. But I do know the energy of it is hard to fake. Maybe one way of describing it is it's easy to trick a mind, right? But hearts are near impossible to trick. And I'm all about being heart-centered wellness. So yeah, you know, you might have fear of friends, family, you know, or even your kids being bullied for you coming out. And I would just say, you know, also be prepared for the best possible outcome, not just the worst possible outcome. And you might have a few bumps on the road, and know that every time you have some bumps, it's the universe saying, right, are you really okay with this? You know, if you're scared of calling yourself psychic, the universe will put you out in front of people to give you the opportunity to tell them that you're psychic. and you'll and I've heard some people, you know, clients recently who had come out and then had kind of gone back into hiding because people were very dismissive. And sometimes it just takes one person, right, to go, oh, that's ridiculous, I don't believe in that. And it's so funny because they can be the same people, and let's be clear, everyone gets a free will choice and everyone gets to choose what they believe. And that's the other really cool thing about when you come out, right? It doesn't matter, right? There's lots of professions, not just energy or psychic based or spiritually based professions that that people believe, that do or don't believe in. Some people don't even believe in modern medical science, right? And you might be sat at a dinner table. If you're sat at a dinner table, I suspect with many of my clients, right, or many of you guys watching this, if you're a Western, in the UK we call them general practitioners, a GP. If you're a traditional doctor or GP, you would be the controversial person in the room, right? You'd have a lot of, if it was a dinner party, I don't even know if I've ever really been to a dinner party, but I can just imagine having dinner with, having a very formal chat and getting a lot of questions about, what do you think about big pharma? And, do you get financial incentives for the treatments that you propose to your patients? And how do you feel? What are the patterns you see? And, do you see that this, modern medicine will stay around forever, or will have more of a return to nature? And it would be much more of a controversial topic, depending on the audience you're around. And I'm not dismissing, no offense to my friends that do similar work to me, but I'm probably not going to call them if I have a car accident. But I would call, not in the moment, right? I wouldn't say, I've just crashed my car, what do I do? Please, put my, help heal my leg. What I would do is ask them as soon as I end up in hospital. I'd be like, please come and visit. Please come and give me a healing. Tell me what to focus on, as well as what the doctors are saying, so it'd be at very least complementary. There's a lovely star up to the right, just a lone star. Very cool. So we're about 13 minutes away from home. And then also consider, right, some people want to come out because their soul's saying, it's time for you to come out as a witch, a psychic, a healer, a house energy clearer, an aromatherapist, or reflexologist, or Swedish masseur, or whatever it is. And your soul wants to do it, but your mind's like, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because you're kind of telling me that I need to change my profession. Well, my first suggestion is find out what your soul purpose is. What did your soul choose in this life? What is the soul blueprint for you? And there's lots of different ways to do it. You can book a session with someone. I would personally, I would say that's the most powerful way of doing it. For free, if you can't afford a session, like booking a session with me, for example, because the life purpose part, the soul purpose is the most commonly requested aspect of my client sessions that I get. It is like 70-80% of my client sessions ask about that. And the answers are always beautiful, and they're always unique, which I also really love. I find it really rewarding. The free version or alternative is my 5th Dimension Ascension classes. And just last week we were doing that from a business perspective in the kind of the partner to the 5th Dimension Ascension classes, which is the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy classes. So go along this. It's now on the homepage of our website. The first one's all about connecting with your soul purpose, and then on Tuesday this week we'll be doing it through the 5th Dimension Ascension class and going into your future. And we'll we'll spend more time asking your future self about all of that. So looking backwards and looking forwards, to find out your soul purpose. Once you know that, right? Because a huge part of my soul purpose is empowering others, right? To help you raise your vibrations, help you navigate and support you through your awakening journey. And so a massive part of that is helping you find out why did I choose this lifetime? Why am I doing all this? Because otherwise, because we're not just a kind of pre-baked psychic. You know, it's like, oh, I must become a psychic now. So I came out as a psychic on Monday, and on Friday I started my own business and I do psychic sessions. You know, and you'll be like, well, what do you mean a psychic session? What is that, and why do you do it? So after you've figured out like your soul purpose, like the mission that you're here for, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? It just needs to exist, right? It needs to become your North Star, your guiding light. Then you can start exploring it as a hobby, and that's what I did, right? Started doing 2 sessions a week. Don't ask me why I just got it in my head that I should always do 2 sessions a week. It felt a bit like going to the gym twice a week. It's like the kind of like minimum you need to do in a week to what would you call it? To receive gains, to grow your muscles, grow your masses. I need to go to the gym at least 2 times a week, or 2 times a day, to build my masses. So that aspect, I felt like I needed the practice, and it, even more important than the practice, and even more than the what and the how, is you'll know if the why is right. You'll know if your soul purpose, your life purpose are in alignment with the thing you're doing, because you feel joy. And you can also describe joy as an emotion that is an aspect of joy is alignment with what your soul wants to do, and it just is, right? And it breaks through any. I just feel my heart opening up. That's lovely. It breaks through many, maybe all, third density, third dimension, modern societal constraints and boundaries, right? You know, no one told me that my session had to be called a quantum psychic healing session, right? I came up with that, and it feels the most joyful for me. You know, quantum because it's past, present, future. Psychic because I use my psychic abilities. Healing because that's a very important part of the work I do, like past life healing, chakra scanning, healing, helping people overcome those wounds in past lives and present lives, and assisting people, you know, guiding people along their journey of their physical conditions. And it's just, I love it. I absolutely love it. When people come back to me, it's like you see my testimonials and say that I helped heal you, I helped and to be honest, it's your consciousness and your body that does the hard work, but I, you know, help direct you back to those parts of you. That brings me such joy. And I get excited about when I look at my calendar in the morning and see what sessions I have booked, the people that I'm serving that day. I'm excited about it. You know, I don't look at and some of them are really traumatic, right? But I don't look at them and go, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Look at all these people's problems. Not at all. I look at the joy, and I feel so much gratitude, because, you know, people are coming to me to help them connect with their passed over loved ones, or to help them with that witch wound that they just can't, you know, heal themselves. And last night at the Spot Village Hall, which has a capacity of 70, Natasha and I, well, Natasha mainly, to me was saying, John, maybe we should do like 70 people here. You know, could you scale what you're doing? And it's fascinating because usually you would say that because of money, right? Usually you would say, oh, let's scale what we do to earn more money. And that was absolutely not my first reaction. And I know it wasn't Natasha's intention either. It was, could we help more people? You know, people find people inspirational, right? And if you can inspire others, and Natasha said something really powerful yesterday, which has to make into this video, which is, she said, whenever we dim our lights, whenever we hold ourselves back, we are doing a disservice. We are denying people that we can serve with our whole self, with that future version of ourself. We're holding that back, and it's, you know, you could perceive that as a bit of a negative, but another way of describing it to yourself is saying there is an overwhelming demand for you, for your superpowers, for you to expand fully and receive all aspects of yourself, to be the psychic, witch, oracle, tarot reader, elder, herbalist, nutritionist, therapist, whatever, all the ists, the icks and the ists. All those things are true, right? These people are waiting for you, and the incredible thing is they don't even know. They don't know who you are yet. They don't know what it is you offer. You don't even know what it is yet. But there's something inside of them that feels that they want to connect with you and that they need your help. And you know, maybe that's an aspect of what happened to me a year ago, when I suddenly got bookings for 5.5 months in advance, that I was catching up with my demand, right? Or should I say, opening up to my demand and saying, hey everyone, I'm psychic. I'm open for business. And everyone's like, okay, John, we're coming for you. And I would also say that the Halloween live stream, or just before Halloween live stream we did on Thursday, Viviani and I, you know, we couldn't get through the 100 requests that people made. There is a greater demand. You know, if you just ignore the finances and time zone differences and some fears that some people have about booking sessions with you, when you explore things, you know, especially the free things that bring you joy, you start to get your own sense of the scale of demand. People need you. They need you. Let me turn you around because I want to just say hello to you in person. Oh, I'm kind of not positioned amazingly well. Can I affect it at all? A little bit. There we go. Hello. People need you. They really do need you. And there's this world, as I started out by saying in this video, there's this whole world that needs, it's our collective witch wound, our collective wounding of stepping into our power, opening up our hearts, receiving the whole of ourselves, remembering our different unique abilities, practicing them, showing others we can do it. Because we're scared, right? And we've been scared. And know this, as we celebrate our ancestors at this time, we came back. We were killed in our past lives for these very superpowers we've now come to activate. We came back, and we're formidable enemies, right? Because we remember, our souls remember. You know, my soul remembered how to do quantum psychic energy healing, how to blend it with reflexology. I am self-taught. You know, how did I'm not like some genius, right? And I also don't think I'm unique in being self-taught. You know, and then being able to write, how do I write training courses about all the things I do? I'm remembering them. And it's funny because in the advanced training course that I'll be running in January, the Higher Self Advanced Training course, I actually have in the training material, I describe how I wrote that week, that week's training material, and so teaching people how to create their own training courses, because we're all remembering. And also I love when I teach people, people what I do. So far, as far as I can tell, everyone adds their own remembrances. And I'm totally comfortable with them doing exactly what I do. And I'm also exploring getting people to run my training courses. And I would just love that so much. It fills me with such joy when people are so expansive. Because this is what the world needs as well. They don't just need like a million Jon Binnies doing the Jon Binnie trademark, copyright, quantum psychic healing. I don't want others to be limited by my constraints. So I do feel a calling personally, and I hope you feel it in yourself, is to continue to expand. And one of the actions I was taking is last night this last week, chatting with two different people about running in-person events, like perhaps one down towards the middle earth, middle of England, another maybe further north. So yeah, just a lot of fun to explore more in-person stuff and be more expansive, be the Jon Binnie. Because my guides were saying to me, John, just be like the John you are on YouTube, but just do that in person. And so I literally, that's exactly what I did. I started the in-person event yesterday by saying, "Hi, I am Jon Binnie." Like just be the John you are online, right? It's not an act, it's me, right? Don't just be the full me. So that's what I did, and it was so much more fun, so much easier as well. And I'm so much more practiced at that, right? I've been doing those live streams for well over a year. Well, I hope this inspires you to be a little bit more the whole of you. Remember, you don't need to do it all at once. Just keep finding an opportunity each day to be a little bit more of yourself. Right, I am going to swing my motum around, stop shouting because people are still probably sleeping. Including my son, and it's been really wonderful chatting with you. Thank you. I hope you had an amazing Halloween, and I am excited to go camping today, so looking forward to that. My son and I are going down to northeast England for camping overnight while my wife and daughter are away. So I hope you're all doing well. And let me know in the comments, what is the next thing you plan to do to expand and to stop dimming your light and to be the whole of you. And let me know if I can be of service. Take care. Sending love.